Warning, spoiler alert. Leave now if you don't want to know the secrets to the Kenobi Disney Plus series. Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the movie Hangout. Kenobi destroyed. That's a topic of this video. But before I jump into these potentially leaked, potentially, spoiler secrets that have kind of trickled on out, go on over, click subscribe, comment, like. I'd love to hear your opinion on what I'm about to say. Okay, so there's been a lot of conversation about what the Disney Plus Kenobi series is about. Is it going to stay true to George Lucas's original vision of the series, his original vision of the prequel trilogy, of the original trilogy, and just kind of go away from the spirit of the new trilogy, which most people agree that really love Star Wars has been a total disaster. It's kind of lost. It's a soulless corporate just shell that looks nice, but when you look inside of it, there's not a whole lot in there, if anything at all. And there have been some leaks. I went over here on Twitter on the account that Star Wars girl. She posts a lot of really good stuff, and this has gone not just from her. This has gone all over the place. And for me, I think that this is credible. I think that there's a good chance this is true because when you watch the Kenobi trailer to the series, it showcases a character that we've never seen before. It's a character called Reva, which is this character right there, played by an actress named Moses Ingram. And what's strange about this character is that it's so prominently shown. Um, it's this character's aggressively going after Kenobi, and then of course in the trailer they call back to Darth Vader. So knowing how Disney thinks, how they tell stories, what types of stories they want to tell, what type of stories they don't want to tell, how they want to literally burn down the past, how they don't respect canon at all, how they don't respect vision at all, how they want to rewrite history. A lot of fans assume that maybe what they're going to do is they're going to have this character inserted into the history of Star Wars, of the most beloved character in the whole series, which is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And they're going to use this character, the character of Reva, to emasculate a strong male character with virtue, like Kenobi. And they're going to make him less important, and they're going to make this new character more important because the new character, Reva, fits their political agenda in the current year. And this leak confirms all of that suspicion. And what's remarkable is once you kind of understand the logic and you kind of understand the worldview of the executives, the new executives with Star Wars and with Disney, it's almost like looking into a crystal ball. You can like see the future. You can see what they're going to do before they actually do it because they are pigeonholed by the ideology that they are in. So I'm going to read what these leaks are. And again, I'm not 100% sure. None of us are going to be 100% sure, but I think there's a pretty darn good chance this is what it is. And when it comes out, we'll see if we're right. So here's what they are. So Moses Ingram's Reva is initially dismissed by the Grand Inquisitor when she claims to sense Obi-Wan on Tatooine. But she's smarter than her boss gives her credit for. Now, the thing about the original Star Wars that made it unique, that made it timeless, was that yes, there was human interaction in it. Yes, there were things in the series that we see in real life, but there weren't really super specific kind of like social interactions in it that we would see in real life because especially in the current year that you're watching the films in, because then it kind of it just takes you out of the universe because you're watching this movie that's supposed to take place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but then you see something kind of political or some social dynamic in it that you see in our real life, and it kind of just of takes you out of that fantasy, and that's what they did. That's the biggest mistake they did with the new trilogy, and it looks like they're doing this here. So here you have the dynamic between a female worker and her boss. She believes that she's actually smarter than the boss gives her credit for. The villain has managed to figure out that Ben Kenobi had been hiding on the planet to protect Anakin Skywalker's son Luke. And after his final battle with Darth Vader, Obi-Wan races home to stop her for harming him. So right there, it shows that Obi-Wan Kenobi is not as powerful as what George Lucas had written him to be. Obviously, in this new version, they're writing that Obi-Wan Kenobi is not super stealth. He's not the Green Beret, the Navy SEAL of the Jedi. He's actually more of a clumsy person that can be tracked down and is less competent and more incompetent than what was ever written and what we've known for the last 50 years about the character. The site has no intel on what Reva has planned for the boy, but when the Jedi Master arrives, he finds Owen and Beru subdued by the Sith Inquisitor and Luke watching on as he stands in front of him, lightsaber ignited, remembering her own traumatic childhood and the awful life she's had inflicted on her. So right there, she's a victim. She's had things happen to her rather than she's done things. If it was going to be a strong character, she would be written as a person who intentionally did a lot of bad things in her life. And then, I don't know, maybe she sees a young boy and it triggers memories to something she did rather than things that happened to her. In good storytelling, people that you root for fight to do things. They're not just like, they're not like an audience member in their own story and they just float around and things just happen to them and they're like a victim. That's not a character that you want to go back to and see what they're going to do next, because they're not fighting for anything. So she's remembering her own traumatic childhood and the awful life she's had inflicted on her. So things happen to her. Reva is unable to kill or take the child and instead leaves the planet with her humanity intact. So right there, she could have killed Luke Skywalker because, number one, Obi-Wan is too weak to hide Luke. He's too weak to protect Luke. So a person who is a brand new character, who is a victim, who doesn't really fight for anything, is still more powerful than Obi-Wan Kenobi. Pretty ridiculous. And then this person, this new character, just chooses not to harm Luke. So it's kind of like Luke's whole life is like a fluke. It's like the whim of this other character that was a victim. The young Luke doesn't understand what's happened, and while Owen had previously dismissed Obi-Wan, he now has a better understanding of why the youngster must be protected. With that, Owen finally gives his nephew the T-16 Skyhopper toy. I wouldn't be surprised if they inserted the T-16 Skyhopper toy in the story so they could sell toys, so Disney could sell toys. I guarantee that's probably why they did it. They were writing the story, and they go, okay, we got to have some story that has like a toy in it so that we can sell those toys in real life. So kids are holding the toy, or like adult, Disney adults who go to the park by themselves, they can hold the toy and like pet the toy while they're watching the series, or they could be walking around the park petting the toy or something like that. Cynical, I know, but I guarantee that's what it is. So they could charge a crazy amount of money for it too. A gift he initially refused to give the boy. It's a touching moment that brings the story full circle, but there's still more to come involving Reva and Darth Vader, of course. We'll bring you that intel soon, and I guarantee this is what's going to happen. So this is like a super spoiler. This is what I think. I think that They're correct. Reva is unable to kill Luke Skywalker, and she leaves with her humanity intact. And because she does that, she ends up going head to head with Darth Vader. Because the only way people are really going to watch this thing is if they have Darth Vader draw his lightsaber and do a sword fight, do a saber fight. I wouldn't be surprised if he does that with Reva and he ends up destroying Reva. So Reva gives some like monologue before Darth Vader like strikes her down. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what ends up happening. So that her character is like super heroic. Everybody is still, looking at Darth Vader as the villain. They can give people the red meat, the red Darth Vader meat, all the fans, so they can see, oh, it's Darth Vader. It's kind of like what they did with Rogue One, where they added more scenes with Darth Vader to get people in the seats. Pretty predictable. Having been inspired by Obi-Wan's message to the Jedi who survived Order 66, a young Jedi named Nari finally locates the Jedi Master on Tatooine. However, the Inquisitors are in pursuit of Nari. His arrival on Tatooine only draws attention to Kenobi and endangers Luke Skywalker. Again, it's just more of the same with that. Lastly, due to the threat of the Inquisitors, Joel Edgerton's Owen Lars believes Kenobi will only lead to Luke and tries to get his nephew back to the farm to keep him safe. So it elevates the character of Owen, and it kind of shows that Kenobi is incompetent. And then it goes on with a potential new Jedi apprentice for Obi-Wan Kenobi. But let me know what you think. Do you think that these sound credible based on what we've seen from Disney up till now? Do you think that they're going to emasculate and delegitimize the character of Obi-Wan to make room for these new characters that fit more of a current year political agenda? Let me know what you think. Also, if you want to get future rants, reviews, or original content, click subscribe. Later.